DreamWorks continues on to be just an absolute goldmine of cancelled productions. It's honestly impressive the amount of glimmering scrap this company has amassed in the span of like 3 years. With the company very much having a clear and divisive direction these days, reaching this point meant that sacrifices had to be made. And almost all of those sacrifices seem to be some of the most interesting concepts from an animation studio of late. We've lost Me and My Shadow, Bureau of Otherworldly Operations, Larrykins, and now this. Monkeys of Mumbai, also known as Bollywood Superstar Monkey. What a title! And Mumbai musical. That sucks. Still, Bollywood Superstar reminds me of Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go. Yes, I remember all of that. So Monkeys of Mumbai was set to be a computer-animated musical fantasy adventure film to be developed by DreamWorks and distributed by 20th Century Studios. It was announced back a little earlier than the others in January 2011 as a fast-tracking Bollywood-styled musical adaptation of the Ramayana, which is one of the largest epics in ancient literature and a tale of Hinduism. All about a prince saving his wife from the clutches of an evil king with the help of an army of monkeys. There's also, of course, some godly deity stuff throughout as well. Anyway, this DreamWorks project was set to be that tale, but told through the point of view of its monkeys. It would have followed 2 common street monkeys who become unlikely heroes in a last-ditch effort to stop an ancient, thought-to-be mythical demon from conquering the world. And since this was set to be a musical, 2 particular men were attached on to compose the song and score. One, Stephen SCHWARTZ, an classic Disneyan working with the music department on Pocahontas, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Enchanted, and with DreamWorks in The Prince of Egypt for lyrics and original songs, and nowadays doing Disenchanted, as well as composing from A.R. Rahman. An absolutely perfect choice considering their background in all things Indian. I mean, this guy was the composer for the Slumdog Millionaire, and looking at his other works, I might not recognize them myself, but I can see this is exactly what we'd be looking for. I can't imagine the impact that would have been felt from a good Western Bollywood movie on the big screen, especially an animated one targeted at kids. I mean, the influences there could have been massive. My only exposure to Bollywood is through Corridor Crew reactions, so I'm all for representative styles being readily produced. Anyway, a slightly more poignant plot synopsis goes like this. Monkeys of Mumbai tells the story of 2 orphaned monkey brothers, Raj and Deepu, who live a hard-scrabble life on the streets of Mumbai. Raj is majorly disillusioned with the role that life has dealt him. He is pragmatic and puts his nose to the grindstone to make sure his brother doesn't feel the hardship of being cast aside. Deepu, on the other hand, is the ultimate optimist and believes that one day street monkeys, scavengers that litter the streets, will one day soon discover their inner Hanuman, the Indian deity that was once revered by all, and rise to their forgotten glory. That's how they cast through life until a chance encounter plunges them into a magical world of adventure. Actually, there's an even more in-depth description I found that we'll get into in a little bit. So with things starting up and making shape, of course we get our wave of optimistic quotes, like this one from DreamWorks Animation's Chief Creative Officer, Bill DAMASCHKE. To reunite with Stephen SCHWARTZ and work with such a celebrated team of artists on DreamWorks Animation's first ever CG animated feature musical project is incredibly exciting. Together we will create a movie that is full of magic, fantasy, adventure, comedy, and emotion, in which inspiring songs and dances will delight audiences everywhere. Shame the first musical DreamWorks did was Trolls. Never an original piece in CG form. Anyway, progress continued to be made, and in June 2011, Kevin Lima had been signed on to take on the directing chair, previously working on the likes of Enchanted, Tarzan, and a Goofy movie. His whole Twitter handle is based on it. He's also been in all sorts of other Disney stuff in other roles. Okay, so having an all-round Disney guy coming from some pretty well-liked Disney movies certainly isn't a major miss. And the role of character designers was plated to Patrick Mate, a real DreamWorks loyalist judging by their history, Kay Asadera, who I found little of from the time, but later gets involved in Alice Through the Looking Glass, Illumination's The Grinch, and Nico and the Sword of Light, and Sergio Pablos, also doing Tarzan and Goofy movie, but also Treasure Planet, specifically Dr. Doppler stuff, and later becoming a full-on writer, creating the original Despicable Me and Klaus. Also, there's art director Ron KURNIAWAN, with a couple duplicate projects and The Croods. But whether or not you like their history, the character designs for this you can see for yourself. At one point, the crew even brought in a group of religious historians and were surprised to find that they were totally fine with the interpretation, and in fact encouraged them to go further. So let's sink our teeth into this. This story synopsis could have just been reverse engineered from looking at the concept art, but it fits, so I'll tell it as we ogle at the art. Oh, actually, it's tweets from the director. that's pretty concrete evidence. Anyway, here's what remains, as even cancelled production stuff can get copyright claims apparently. While swiping movie snacks at an old world theater, Deepu becomes enthralled with a trailer for a film about the monkey god Hanuman. Ultimately, they're chased out by a gang of monkey catchers. En route home, the brothers find themselves in gang territory. The confrontation culminates in a giant Bollywood number, of course, which is danced on the mess of wires that snake throughout the city. After a long day, Deepu falls asleep while Raj sings about how he wishes his life had turned out in another life. The next morning, the two investigate the sounds of the film crew shooting the Bollywood movie, only to be chased again, this time slipping underground to a hidden cavern, a place covered with the sculptures of the Ramayana tale. It depicts Rama shooting his enchanted arrow into the sky, where the golden arrow multiplies and thousands of arrows fall, impaling all of the villain demon's army. And stuck in a pile of rubble is a single golden arrow. Raj is skeptical it's the real arrow and pulls it out, releasing the villain from his resting place. While running again, apparently from the monkey catchers now, the brothers find themselves in the trailer of Chandani, the Bollywood megastar who plays Sita in the Ramayana, and her pet monkey, Pinky. Pinky's a force to be reckoned with, and with her over-the-top personality, she holds the brothers hostage. On set, the shoot comes to a rousing finale, and into this moment rises Ravana, the nine-headed unleashed villain. Ravana is tormented, driven mad by his 9 heads, each with its own personality and all power-hungry for control. Ravana thinks Chandani the actress is the real Sita and scoops her up, magically turning into a chariot and flies off to his island, Lanka. The chase sequence was to be set to a Bollywood version of the Bee Gees' Stayin' Alive. Also, since you're halfway through, do subscribe, or check out all my other links. Deepu gets separated from Raj and rides as a stowaway to Lanka. Raj and Pinky join forces and set sail to rescue Deepu and Chandani from the clutches of Ravana. And with the island in sight, their boat is swallowed whole by a monstrous carp. Inside the belly of the fish, all seems hopeless. Raj is despondent, but Pinky, ever the optimist, won't let him wallow and attempts to lift his spirits in song. Bollywood Superstar is a giant inspirational Bollywood disco number replete with a bevy of backup dancers and singers, and they even glow in the dark. What a coincidence! Back on the island of Lanka, we are introduced to Ravana's mob of demons, each based on an Indian instrument, and become Ravana's orchestra whenever he sang. To which he does here, an over-the-top Andrew Lloyd Webber-esque love ballad, Yours, which can be described as an otherworldly kaleidoscope. Wow. Raj and Pinky fall for each other, in song of course, as they arrive on the shores of Lanka. The song was called Candies on the Gange. Raj and Pinky rescue Chandani and Deepu, stealing the flying chariot, I thought that was Rava, and fly back to Mumbai. It says here that monkeys aren't very good pilots, so they crash land onto the beach of Mumbai, so not all that bad. Unfortunately, Catcher doesn't elude Raj as he is then trapped by the monkey catcher. Deepu goes on to break his brother out and releases all the other imprisoned monkeys. And for our final act, in order to win back the love of his life, Ravana descends upon Mumbai. Raj rallies all of the monkeys of Mumbai, and the climax is set to an uplifting song of rejuvenations. All of the monkeys reclaim their inner strength, saying, "I am Hanuman." But then also, Ravana transforms Deepu into one of his demon army. All of the monkeys form together in the image of Rama, they shoot the golden arrow and send Ravana and his demon army back to their graves. Demon Deepu also gets shot, and Raj tries to wake him up, but to no use. Until he does, because Raj found his inner Hanuman. All of Mumbai then returns to normal, all like it never even happened. And in what is known to happen in a Bollywood musical, everyone celebrates in dance. Huzzah! In April of 2014, it was announced that Leah Michele and Rohan Chand were in talks to join the cast from the likes of Glee and, oh god, the naff Wizard of Oz sequel, and the new Jumanji and Jungle Book as Pinky and Deepu. Whilst Chandani was set as Deepika Padukone from Indian films like Chennai Express and Padmavat, and Raj was Aaron Taylor-Johnson. Oh! The project from then on got a little rocky. Originally scheduled for December 18, 2015, its release date was pushed back to March 18, 2016, and then March 10, 2017. Apparently, the marketing department was always nervous that the Ramayana played such a crucial part in telling the monkeys of Mumbai, and they thought that audiences would be lost. In director Kevin Lima's words, the project was sabotaged by Jeffrey Katzenberg, then CEO of DreamWorks. Another source says it was cancelled due to financial disputes, but that source is a little less trusted. Anyway, in December 2017, Lima revealed that DreamWorks quietly cancelled the film in an interview stating, "It came very close. We were just getting into production. We were just starting animation. I'd been working on it for 2.5 years. All the songs were written. The composers were just ready to start. I have to say that it's one of the greatest disappointments of my film career not seeing that one move forwards. It had nothing to do with the movie and everything to do with the politics of selling the studio." Because of course this was during the same DreamWorks reshuffle we keep coming back to. 7 of us, I think, lost movies at that moment in time, with the studio having written it off on their taxes. It means the only way to get it back would be to invest that kind of money again. And it's tens of millions of dollars. I tried. I really tried. Steven Schwartz and I took it around town, but when the price tag was revealed, everyone gasped. Ultimately, we couldn't find a buyer. Funnily enough, almost all of the songs in the movie had existed in one form or another, from rough demos to completed demos with finished vocal tracks and all. But the likelihood of us hearing from them with our own ear holes is essentially 0. And Kevin Lima himself doesn't think the film will ever see the light of day. He says he's asked DreamWorks to revive the project from time to time, but they always give the same answer. Monkeys of Mumbai could have been a really cool, impactful film, I feel. Seeing more Bollywood representation on the Western screen could do some serious good for influential cinema goers and broaden all of our horizons. I could also see it falling into some cracks with our modern outlooks though. Pinky, as you can imagine, would have just about every visual aid to tell us this monkey is the girl, right down to the name, and since the story itself is so archaic, it has some outdated tropes like the minimally contributing damsel in distress actress, but changing that story too much would also feel like a mistake for a first-time adaptation. I also see some general flaws on the extended synopsis. Some parts feel forced or weird, but it was an in-production production, so maybe with a little bit of polish it would form a lot better. Regardless, that was the tale of Monkeys of Mumbai, yet another casualty of DreamWorks and their rebrand to something softer. If you want to look more into it yourself, we've also now got a barrage of sources down in the description. Who knows how our timeline would have gone if we were more knowledgeable on another country's culture and the movie genre they bring. All I know is, for now, my name's been Dazz, you didn't really care, and I'll see you in a bit.